time is now 7:47. I'm going to call to order the regular meeting of the City Council for February 24th, 2025. Chris, could you call the roll? I'm sorry.
Certainly. Councilmember Brown.
Present.
Councilmember Carter.
Here.
Councilmember Garza.
Here.
Councilmember Hussein.
Here.
Councilmember Jackson.
Present.
Councilmember Cost.
Here.
Councilmember Pelivanoglu. Councilmember Spatafor. There are 8 members present, a quorum. No members are absent, and we are to the meditation and Pledge of Allegiance.
All right. Thank you, Clerk Swope. Sorry about that. Calling you Chris. Is there anybody we want to remember?
Yes, I would like to express our condolences to the family of Judith Lindsay. Judith was an election worker for the past 20 years, and actually for the past 4 or 5 years, she was a regular appearance here in City Hall, volunteering in the office and helping with filing, and she'll be greatly missed. She passed away last week. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that we want to remember tonight? All right, if we could all rise. Thank you. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And you have for approval the February 10th council proceedings.
Vice President Carter.
I would move to approve the February 10th, 2025 minutes as presented.
We have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
And we are to the consideration of late items.
Vice President Carter.
Yes, I will make a motion to suspend Council Rule Number 9 and to add the introduction and setting public hearing ordinance amendment, Chapter 404.15 on parking.
Okay, we have a proper motion.
And do we have the ordinance itself for referral as well?
This ordinance is,
But you want to refer the ordinance, right?
yes,
So,
ordinance,
two items.
two items.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, we are to special ceremonies and presentations, and we don't have any listed on the agenda, but we are going to pull a couple of the appointments that appear later on the agenda. So we, under special ceremonies, we're going to move to the appointment of Cheryl Bernard to the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Board.
Councilman Jackson.
Yes, thank you. As Cheryl comes down, I'll go ahead and start with the motion for to move Cheryl Bernard for the 3rd Ward member of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Board. She has worked with, you can come right up here and be a second, with WIC Division, State of Michigan, Urban League, where she created programs for students. She's promoted diversity and equity, including programs in her profession, including public health equity with her job. And she understands that the best ideas come from a collection of people, and she understands that equity, diversity, and inclusion includes more than race, gender, and there's a bunch of different considerations to make, and she's ready to serve on the board, and I would move her appointment.
Okay. Do we have any further discussion? Vice President Carter.
I would also like to add that Cheryl came into the committee very passionate and speaking of some of the goals that she would like to obtain if approved, that she spoke to educating our city and marketing on the various programs that take place throughout the city outside of the traditional standard diverse population of race, gender, age, but all diverse and equitable cultures in Lansing, and then meeting people where they're at. So not allowing us to just sit still, but for her to create movement in this on this board. So I wanted to make sure I added that she had extreme passion through the committee.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Congratulations.
To the appointment of John Scott to the Board of Fire Commission.
Councilwoman Pelley Vonnegut.
Thank you. We had John Scott attend our Public Safety Committee several weeks ago and asked him several questions about his time commitment, his interests, why the Board of Fire Commissioners, and he was very forthcoming. He most recently served on the Board of Public Service, so he does want to dedicate his time and his talents to the city of Lansing through serving on a variety of boards. There was some discussion of, why the Board of Fire Commissioners, why leave public service? Is there, any other area you were interested in? And I think he expressed his willingness to really learn about the city, be involved in a variety of different ways, but he does have a passion for public service and for understanding both city and state government. And so I am pleased to move forward the appointment of John Scott as the second ward representative for the Board of Police Commissioners. I'm sorry, Fire Commissioners.
All right, we have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Congratulations. Okay, do we have any comments? Councilmember Hussein.
Yep, just two quick ones. Number one, the Rejuvenating South Lansing meeting that was scheduled for tomorrow has been canceled as we have a number of seasonal viruses going around. Both our facilitators, Carol Wood and Jason Wilkes, are under the weather, and then my understanding is that a number of members of RSL, regular attendees of the meetings, have also expressed the fact that they are a bit under the weather as well. So to keep everybody safe, they thought it would be wise to cancel that meeting. I promise I'm not sick. To cancel that meeting and to look forward to next month. So March 25th, mark your calendar, 6:30 p.m. at Elfrida Schmidt Southside Community Center. It's at 5825 Wise Road. Again, March 25th, 6:30 p.m. And then the second piece is on March 8th. I am actually having a third ward constituent contact meeting. That is at 10 a.m., same place as the RSL meetings, 5825 Wise Road, and the Sandy Allen Room of the Elfrida Schmidt Southside Community Center. Come on out. We're going to have some representatives from our fire department to talk about their annual report. We're going to have a couple other local officials that want to provide some updates with regard to county and maybe even further out. But frankly, we're going to spend the vast majority of the time talking about Lansing City Council and then Southwest Lansing updates. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity to come together, to be updated on the things that we're working on, to I think take inventory of some of the progress that we've made, but to also identify some of those things that we need to really, really kind of nail down on in 2025 and make sure we're moving forward. Immediately thereafter, and I don't know that there's much more important in the southwest quadrant of the city than our parks. We actually are going to have a Parks Master Plan open house. So this will be immediately following our constituent contact meeting that will start at 12 o'clock in the same room. So we're certainly hoping that some of the folks that come out for the constituent contact meeting stay to be a part of the discussion with regards to our master plan. So our Parks Department is actually updating or working to update our 5-year master plan now. That's the document that essentially guides decisions and really the forward movement of our park over the next 5 years. So we certainly want as much public input as possible. There is an opportunity to get online and to take a survey. But of course, this, when we talk about the open house, there will be an educational piece followed by obviously the opportunity to provide input. And I want to thank one of our park board members that's actually in the audience, Mr. Tierston Walters. I think every neighborhood meeting I've been to over the last 2 months, he's been there to first get us set up, right, for the fact that this process was getting ready to begin. And then as soon as those dates dropped, he has been everywhere making sure folks are informed. So again, we hope you come out March 8th. 10 o'clock is the constituent contact meeting, followed by the Parks Master Plan open house at noon. Thank you.
Any further council comments? All right, I have a couple. First, council members, you will be receiving by email by tomorrow morning the agenda, the schedule rather, for the budget hearings. We have that set. It is ready to go. So look for the email from Sherry that lays out the schedule. And I appreciate the mayor's office in their willingness to reach out and work with us on the schedule and work with us on what kind of a budget format we would like to see this year. I will also add that the first ward, my ward, I will be holding the constituent meeting for the first ward on March 1st, this Saturday, 1611 East Kalamazoo Street. That's Allen Neighborhood Center. It starts at 11 a.m. It is a power hour full of lots of data and facts and printables for you to take with you. And I hear that there are also beverages and some snacks, so I hope to see you there. Okay, that was it.
Okay, I have no announcements, so we are to community event announcements. If anyone in the audience has a community event, we'll give you 1 minute to tell us the details of your community event.
I just want to inform
Hey,
you
Nick.
that,
Nick, could you stop for just a second? I don't think that microphone's on.
yeah. Knew it wasn't on.
Good. Right.
Okay. Is it on now?
I still can't hear you. Faith? Oh, nope, there it is.
As I was saying, I'm Nick Lazani. I'm the president of the Old Everett Neighborhood Association. I'm here to announce that the Old Everett Neighborhood Association bi-monthly meeting will be held on Wednesday, March 19th at 6:30 p.m. at the Village Lansing. That is 3525 South Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Suite G. And we will be discussing where our grants have been going and what we're going to be doing with them. And we hope that more people attend and consider applying for the vacant positions. They are Vice President, Secretary, Treasurer, Communications, and regular board members for the Kavanaugh and Kendon precincts.
Thank you. Any other community events? Yep. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Tierston Walters. I'm an at-large member of your park board and the vice chair of your neighborhood advisory board. I can't describe better the master plan than Councilman Hussein did, but I will give the dates for the other open houses. The first ward will be March 11th, 5 to 7:30, and that will be at the Foster Community Center. The second ward will be March 13th, 5 to 7:30, and that will be at the Fenner Nature Center. The fourth ward will be March 26th from 5 to 7:30. That will be at the Letts Community Center. And the Neighborhood Advisory Board also has their grants closing on March 7th. But we also have a listening session for any neighborhoods that are interested in getting more information. That will be held the 26th from 5:30 to 6:30 at the Letts Community Center. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other community events? All right, then we are to speaker registration for public comment on legislative matters. So we have two sections. We have show cause hearings, so that is items 3 through 11. If you received a notice and are here on one of the show cause hearings for orders, just make safe or demolish, please make sure if you have not signed in to speak and wish to, that you sign in with Haley on a green sign-in sheet in the next minute. And then legislative matters includes the scheduled public hearing on Glenburn Commons, as well as agenda items 13 through 34, and the late ordinance for introduction. And that is the blue sign-in sheet in the back. So again, please get up and sign in on the blue sheet if you wish to address City Council in the next minute. And in the meantime, we're to the mayor's comments.
Mayor Shore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few items for council and for the public. One, every year for the last few years, we have done these congressional funded, I forgot exactly what they're called. This year, I wanted to kind of give everyone a heads up that we are expecting to have more of those requests from our members of Congress. I think last year or the year before, we came at you at the last minute and said, we just found out and here's our recommendations. And there was some concerns about basically rubber stamping and not having input. So I'm asking you all now, we are expecting mid-March. We're not exactly sure because we haven't heard from all three offices, but if there's any projects you want on that list, then please let Mark know. We have talked to many of our departments and we'll probably come to you with a resolution, probably with 5 or so that are recommended and probably with a few more that departments have provided. And then we will have that conversation. Again, we may ask the council president to do it all in one meeting because we come up on deadlines. But this is my ask of council, that if you have projects that you've heard of that you'd like us to add into that resolution, then you all can kind of work through that. That would be great. So thank you for that. Second, a few weeks ago, Nancy Malo of ENO came and testified, asking for the Board of Public Service to have somebody representing those of disability. And I'm happy to say we reached back out to Peckham, and they have identified someone. So you have a Tracy Tanner, which I believe we just introduced for the Board of Public Service. With John Scott being appointed, we now have a vacancy. And I'm happy that I think Jason Wilkes had said something from the Board of Public Service, as well as Nancy, and now we have someone who represents disability who we can send on. So that's good news, and in responding to the request of our board. I want to thank Capital Area Housing Partnership for revitalizing yet another house in Lansing on Pine Street. It looks beautiful. I want to thank you to all of our park staff and to all the folks that came for the mother, son, and daddy-daughter dance, which is always a lot of fun to see all our folks dressed up and getting to enjoy themselves. I want to thank the South MLK CIA folks who came, who did a media event and showed a lot of their work and their priorities for this really important corridor. I want to remind everybody that Frost Fest is this Saturday, so come on out and enjoy Frost Fest. And then finally, we have announced that the State of the City this year will be on March 6th. I hope to see council members there. We certainly want to show all the great things going on. and it's going to be at the Schmidt Center, which is limited to how many we can have there because of fire marshal. But it will be on the city's YouTube page. So March 6th at 6 p.m. It will be on the city's YouTube page, and we'll have some folks at the Schmidt Center. So that's what I've got. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor Shore.
Okay, with that, we are to show cause hearings, and these are all for orders to make safe or demolish to various properties. And this is the owner or their representative's opportunity to make their case why the order should not be entered into to require them to make safe or demolish the property.
All right, Councilwoman Pelivanoglou.
Thank you. First on our agenda, we have 204 East Potter Avenue. Okay, so as the property owner comes to the podium, just some information on this property. This was originally red tagged on 11/30 of 2017. NEAT team enforcement began May 7th of 2019. There had been some activity as recently as 2024, but progress was disapproved. Rough and service had been approved for electrical in March of 2024. And I believe there was still some outstanding electrical and plumbing work that needed to be done. The SEV amount is $27,200, and the cost of repairs is $36,200. ED&P recommended 90 days to make safe or demolish on this property.
And then Councilmember Pelivanoglou, we're just going to go through every one of them. So, sir, if you want to take your seat, once we're done going through all of them, then you'll have your opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. This may be the more expedient way to approach this agenda. Next, we have 1232 North Washington Avenue. The original red tag date on this property was June 27th, 2011. The NEAT team enforcement began December 8th of 2011. There has been some activity in 2023 and 2024, but all permits are needed to be finalized to make safe. There is an SEV amount of $49,100. The cost of repairs on this property is $124,512, and the city recommends 90 days to make safe or demolish on this property. Next, we have 1616 South Cedar Street. The original red tag date was May 10th, 2011. NEAT team enforcement began September 1st, 2021. There had been some trash removal, having to board up of the property, front yard parking, and one remodel permit that was open in 2023 with no inspections completed. The SEV on this property is $23,800, and the cost of repairs is $70,338. The city recommendation is 60 days to make safe or demolish. Next, we have 1300 West Maple. The original red tag date on this property is November 8th, 2005. The NEAT team enforcement began November 3rd, 2011. Throughout that time, there have been 14 enforcements for trash and grass. There was an electrical permit that was closed out in 2015, a plumbing permit that was closed out in 2012. A building permit was issued in 2024, July of 2024, but no inspections had been completed. The SEV for this property is $24,600, and the estimated cost of repairs is $47,313. The city recommends 30 days to make safe or demolish. The next property is 5625 K North. This original red tag date was March 13th of 2009. The NEAT team enforcement began October 7th, 2011. There have been 9 permits that were applied for since it had been red tagged, but 8 of the 9 were canceled or closed due to inactivity. This property has received 29 enforcements over time, having been placed on the property since being tagged. 8 board ups were ordered and 11 for grass and weed removal, and 9 for trash. And the SEV is $72,900. The cost, the estimate for repair is listed here at $130,500. The city recommends 30 days to make safe or demolish. Next, we're on to 1723 Osband Avenue. The original red tag date goes back to June 26, 2015. It was subsequently red tagged December 17th, 2019, and then again on February 8th of 2023. The NEAT team enforcement had begun on this property October of 2015. There has been some activity in 2024. There was an open building permit issued February of 2024, an open electrical permit on March 2024, an open plumbing permit issued on February 2024. This property has had 4 board ups, 1 grass violation, 6 trash violations that resulted in 4 trash removals. The SEV on this property is $36,200, and the cost of repairs is $69,550. The city recommends 90 days to make safe or demolish. Next property on the list is 1023 Porter Street. The original red tag date was July 6th, 2017. This structure was fire damaged. The NEAT team enforcement began May 2018. The property activity, there were 9 premise violations since the property was tagged, 1 for grass mowing in 2024, 1 for grass mowing in 2023, and then a trash removal in 2024. The frame of this structure was partially approved with the appropriate permit February of 2024. An electrical permit had been issued in April of 2024. The SEV of this property is $26,593, and the cost of repairs is $32,200. The city recommends 60 days to make safe or demolish. Next, we have 308 East Cesar Chavez Avenue. This is a commercial property. The original red tag date was December 12th of 2017. The SEV is $74,000. The cost to repair is $412,033. The city head recommends 30 days to make safe or demolish. And lastly, we have 5141 South Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. This is another commercial property. The original red tag date was August 30th of 2021. Property activity since being red tagged, there have been 65 total, well, actually, there have been 65 total enforcement violations dating back to 2012. There have been trash, grass, board ups, disabled motor vehicles, people working without permits, and zoning violations to this property. The SEV is $430,000, and the cost to repair is $5,993,505. $505. The city recommends 30 days to make safe or demolish on this property.
Okay, the first speaker is Rahim Alikhil, followed by Clarence Hooker. And you have 3 minutes to address the city council.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. My name is Rahim Alikhil, and 204 East Potter Avenue. I purchased this property in February 2023. And then I start working. I like to finish it as soon as possible, but the thing is there is something which sometimes we are find the person or the city when they have lack of some the inspector. And then finally, I found now I'm in the place which I can. Last month they gave me 1 month, and I got the installation. Installation is done, and then we approved with installation and also drywall. I put most of the drywall. It's there, a paper which I have. So I just request I need some more time to finish it. But when I talked to the electrician and plumber, they said first you have to finish the drywall. We are ready to do the other part. So I need only time to finish him this time.
All right.
Done?
If that's all you have to say,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, speaking on item number 4, Clarence Hooker, followed by Brian McNamara.
My name is Clarence Hooker. I own the property at 1232 North Washington. I bought it in 2011. It had a tag on it at the time, and it had major plumbing problems related to, not being connected to the city. I think that has been addressed, and I actually bought that property believing that one of my daughters would move there, but she married and moved away. And so that house, has basically, been in my hands since then. But I also, plan to continue my work. And I'm interested in, and have been doing for 35 years at MSU, and I want to continue doing family history research, and I have a special interest in the area of Lansing, and a new interest, which I became aware of recently, and that is the 496 project. And I plan to look at each of the 804 homes that were actually demolished for that area, and to build a database so that we can really know what happens, to those people since then, and to what extent, that how we actually improved, the life chances of the people who live there. I have a long-term interest. I will, live there partially. I think that one of my adult children will actually live there, but mostly I plan to move what I need to continue my research at that house, and I chose that house particularly because of where it's located. And I used the State Library of Michigan a lot, and the archives, and I want to make a better connection with the people of Lansing. Over the years, I have had, I don't know the number, but many of the students that I have had to do this work, building these family histories, have been from students from Lansing. They signed permission for me to keep their work and to make some publication of it at a later date. I recently retired, and I am now able to actually come and begin and to continue that work out of this house, I hope. And I think it's a perfect place for it. It's walking distance to the State of Michigan Library. I really need to get to know the Lansing area better, and to reestablish contact with the students that I already know, and get them to help me elaborate on, the work that they've already done. We have work ongoing at this house. We actually had scheduled a inspection for Thursday, but we had to cancel in part for due to an injury of one of the workers. We now have that scheduled for tomorrow, and I hope that you'll let me keep this house.
Thank you very much. Next, we have for agenda item number 5, Brian McNamara, followed by Alicia Flowers.
Yes, I'm Mr. McNamara, and I own the property at 1616 South Cedar. The lady stated that I haven't pulled permits and no work has been done since 2023. We pulled a siding permit and a drywall permit, and the city has since inspected the property for the siding and the drywall work, and it's been completed, and they signed off on it. So really what needs to be done now is the plumbing, and it consists of one bathroom, which is a shower tub, vanity, toilet, and a kitchen sink. And that needs, the plumbing permit needs to be pulled for that. And I had talked to a plumber. They wanted $4,000 just to pull the permits for that specific work, so it's it slowed me down. I've got property taxes on several homes, and I've got to come up with $20,000 by the end of March, and I need 6 months to complete this home. The outside, it's right down the street from Leroy's Bar, and it's on the same side of the street. But if you're driving South Cedar Street, it's probably one of the nicest looking homes that is in that whole area. And, you know, for you folks to say that you need to tear it down because, you know, it's a menace to the neighborhood. I mow the lawn, I shovel the snow, I mow the lawn every week. The snow's taken care of every time there's an inch of snow on the ground. Front porch, back porch has been redone when the siding was redone. You know, you folks are welcome to drive by, take a look. But, you know, I don't understand why you want to tear a home down that you continually get a tax base from me. And, I mean, I could understand it if it was totally an eyesore, but it is not. And, you know, you guys are going about it wrong with most of the people within here. And you really need to let up on them a little bit because they're just trying to do their damnedest just like everyone else. And, you know, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. On agenda item 6, Alicia Flowers, followed by Gloria Hall.
Good evening. My name is Elisa Flowers.
And I'm Gloria Hall. I was the original owner of this house. We are in partnership together on this house now, and we are doing work on it. We just had the kitchen cabinets put in. We're getting ready to lay the floors, and I'm with the guy here. It's like, what's the big rush like now? I mean, you've been through my house. You have the pictures of what was done before since the sticker has been on there. There have been 2 inspectors in the house, and they went through and just said, okay, you know, finish the house. It wasn't until this last February when I started getting letters from the city that there was a rush to get this done, and we're trying.
If I can clarify, please, you should have some pictures of the work that's been done. To date, I know they did say when the last permit was pulled at the end of 2024. To date, we have passed all of the inspections, the electrical inspection, the plumbing inspection, and the building inspection. The roughs have been passed. We should, from what I understand, I spoke with the contractor today, we're waiting on the laminate for the countertop to be installed so they can build that. The flooring should go down this week. Once the flooring is done, we will finish the bathroom and the doors will be installed. There's very little work left to do. And do you have the pictures by chance? We did print them. Okay. All right. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Joseph Fawaz on agenda item number 7, followed by Verl Green Wheelwright.
To the Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, I have 5625 K North. I did give a packet also, if you happen to get one of the packets. It has the photos in there and what I'm covering. I'm working with MSU Federal Credit Union and Rocket Mortgage to get a $50,000 first mortgage on a home equity line of credit so I can pay to finish the house. I've contracted with an electrician to finish all electrical work. They have applied for the permits with the city, which I have on there, and a photo of the electrical box that they're working on currently. I'll be living in the house, so I've changed my permanent address to this address, K North, and have submitted homeowner's affidavit, which is also on there. I will be paying for the contractor's permit, which I would have had today, but I didn't have enough time, so I'll pay that tomorrow. I also have other permits to be pulled, and all work has to be done. I'll be installing 2 sets of steps in the back of the house for the exits to the double glass doors, which you see in the last photo. The electrical is to be finished first, and then step contractor permits done by March 30th of 2025. When the contractor permits have been approved by the city, code inspection is accomplished, I will start on each of these issues in succession. In the spring, I plan on installing a 40-foot by 15-foot deck on the back of the house using the same steps which were installed for the double doors as the steps off of the porch. There's a metal roof on the house, which hasn't been fully finished, so I need to finish the touches on the sides. I'm planning on installing carpet throughout the house. Hopefully, all the permits and approvals will be finished by June 1st of 2025, so I can move in and be able to use my current house, which I have to be out of by July 30th. Basically, just looking to get all the rate tags removed, and if I get that done, I'll occupy it sooner if possible. Thank you. The only thing left is, you can see the photos in the back, and basically, I don't know why they think it's an eyesore, but I have basically that photo there of the front and that photo of the back of the house. So, sorry. Mainly that's just wanted to say was that I'll be working on it, and I plan on living in the house. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next is on agenda item 8 is Verl Green Wheelwright, followed by Tawny Cerny.
Hello, thank you. We have finished the framing permit, and it's been approved. Roofing permit has been approved. Siding permit has been approved. The insulation permit is also approved. The HVAC permit was pulled, and we had a reinspection for this week. Plumbing permit was rough and approved. The electrical permit has been pulled, and we have the box in and the hookup to utilities, and he went for vacation for 2 weeks. He'll be back, and we'll have that installed, and then all we have left is just to do the drywall and paint. We have new flooring in the kitchen. We have new flooring in both bathrooms. We have all the tile on the walls and the new shower on the first floor. And of course, you saw the pictures from before. It is a beautiful driveway. So we're ready to get it taken care of pretty quickly. And I've got 2 minutes, and I can't even think of a complaint. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on agenda item number 9 is Tawny Cerny, followed by Richard Preuss.
Hello. I'm not quite put together like they were, but I have pulled all the permits, and I've passed everything. I've made progress since the last meeting. I had them come out and do the furnace and got that taken care of, so that's all good to go. Been working on drywall. I don't have a big pocketbook. That's the problem. So I've been doing the work myself. So I've been finishing drywall as best I can to get the final permit or the final inspection done. I had to have the drywall finished, and so my electrician said, I've got the caps on the plugs and all that stuff. So I've been working my butt off. It's taken time because, like I said, I don't have the funds for everything. I do have the vanity kitchen cupboard started, the tubs in, the toilets in. Those are all things that I've made progress since 30 days ago or whatever, approximately. So I'm doing my best. So a little bit of time would be handy, but as I said, I'm trying. So that's all I got to say.
All right, thank you. Next on agenda item number 10 is Richard Preuss, followed by Andy Markovitz.
Hey, guys. All right, I just wanted to mention I was going to meet Adam Brewer here just to be present and, evidently, I'm kind of speaking a little bit in his behalf. He sent me a text because he was going to come earlier, and I just got a text, sorry, passed out, didn't wake up in time, just woke up, been sick all weekend. So at any rate, he's not here. I'm kind of speaking up for the property more so. I do know Adam Brewer. There was a property that my father, when he passed away, left in Old Town. It was a pretty rundown property with lots of problems associated with it. We managed to evict the tenants that were there. Some were living there without a lease, and there was definitely a lot of problems associated with that property. Once I finally got him out, I put the property up for sale, and Adam Brewer bought the property, and within 2 months had it remodeled and also had tenants within that period of time. I do know that he had some financial problems that he was working through, so it took him a little while to pay off the property, but once he did, he was able to, he and I have had a good relationship and I've never had a problem. The property itself that we're talking about, I'm only going to speak up it from a real quick note that where my interest is, it's a property that my great-grandfather built back in the 20s. It was a meat market for many, many years. There's not much property left in Old Town that looks the way Old Town looks. So it's the last property that I can think of in that neighborhood, minus the blue building that's being worked on. I can't remember what the name of it is, but across the street from me, the really large blue building that's now owned by the people that own, the nonprofit that owns the Temple Club. But this particular property is about the last one left that has a really beautiful brick to it facing. And if somebody's willing to put that kind of money into it, and he has invested a bit of money already, I would just say when he does have the ability to communicate, that you have a kind ear to what he has to say. I will say in the 48 seconds I got left, when I did work with him over the last couple years, I will say he's not the best communicator. And just lend him, the one thing he has done is he's done a fantastic job of the properties that he has bought, and probably wasn't a great communicator through those either. So I'm just suggesting that bend an ear to him and seeing if he's willing to put the money into that property to possibly bend in order to make that property be something. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on item 11 is Andy Markovic, followed by Joe Bermudez.
Hi, guys. Well, where to start? We all know it's a bit of a big project that needs to be torn down in my future plans. If we go to redevelop the property, which we are in negotiations with multiple people about trying to develop and make an apartment complex out of that area. Not low income, by the way. Standard rate. So what I'm asking for at this time is a little more time because I have to deal with like asbestos and other issues from my environmental report that needs to be contended with. So I'm asking for like 60 to 90 days. I got a rough report, and I also got a permit paid for today, which I should hopefully have approved by tomorrow for a tear out. Oh, by the way, anybody that's listening, if they would like to get a hold of me, I like to save the old maple hardwood from the bowling lanes. So anybody that's interested, please get a hold of me, 485-5000. Number's on the sign. You can also get a hold of my real estate agent, Jeff, and go from there. There's plenty of wood in there to help build a lot of houses around Lansing. So right now I applied for a tear out permit to get those floors out of there. This would be my third permit for that property. The first permit was for the tear out of the bowling equipment originally. The second permit was for tearing out the bar walls, and those are the non-bearing walls, so we can get other equipment out of there. Now the third permit obviously is going to be for the lanes and so forth. My intention is to demo the place. I wanted to do it under my terms. The reason it took so long to get a permit for this tear out, there was some confusion over in the permitting department whether I was allowed to do my own permits. Now that we got that straightened out and we're moving forward on that, and we're going to have that done. Now, just to kind of jump back a little bit about the old liquor license stuff, trying to keep it in our area. Had I been able to buy a liquor license for the bowling alley back then when we purchased it, it would still be open today. But I couldn't get one at the time because it was unavailable to find one. The bankruptcy court had sold that property without the liquor license because they had sold it for more than what we bought the property for. So anyways, that's just a separate subject. So at this point, I'm just asking for more time, more than the 30 days that's offered right now. Yes, we do have 65 permit. Sorry, are we out of time? Or can I keep going?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then our final speaker for this, for the show cause hearings is Joe Bermudez, also on item 11.
Hi, I'm here in support of 5141 South Martin Luther King, Andy's property there. There is a plan to redevelop with an apartment complex with TA Forestburg. Moving forward, it would be a $15 million project. Our concern is we plan on doing the demolishing on there. However, if the city doesn't allow for Andy and I to do the demolishing, there's going to be a very huge bill we could probably not pay. We own 12 different construction companies, and we do demolishing. We have all of our own equipment, and we are able to do that. So it seems like everybody's moving towards wanting this demolished, and we're just asking that we're able to do it if that's what it comes down to, because we wouldn't be able to pay for that bill. If you guys send your own people in there, it's going to be a hefty bill. So we understand it's an eyesore and we want to do something about it. We have been developing here in the city. We just built a house at 1605 Comfort that's 90% done. Just built one at 709 Douglas Street. We're building a house right now on Chestnut, one on Chavez. We just completed one on Fairview. We're going to start the digging on the house on Alfred and Commonwealth. And 2 years ago, we built the first electric house here on Avalon Street. So we have an interest in the city in building and beautifying it. We just need a little bit of time. I would ask that you consider, if the demolishing is going to happen, to allow for us to do it. We are licensed, we're insured, and we have our own equipment. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was the last on that section. So we are now to public comment on city government, on legislative matters. And legislative matters, as I said before, it includes items 13 through 34 on the agenda, plus the late ordinance for introduction. I would note that item 25, the noise special permit, did not get reported from committee, but people are still able to speak on it if they wish to. And then it also includes item 12, which is a public hearing on special assessment for Glenburn Commons trash and grass abatement.
And then, real quick, all of these show cause hearings will be taken up tomorrow, February 25th, at Public Safety, right behind us at 4 p.m.
Can we come to that meeting, or? At what time? At 4 o'clock?
4 p.m., yes, and it's open to the public.
They'll be right behind you.
Correct, 10th floor, yes, right behind us.
Is there an introduction of the of the public hearing?
Councilman Brown.
Thank you. We have the introduction of special assessment public hearing for Glenburn Commons trash and grass abatement. The special assessment roll number GB 2025, known as Glenburn Commons grass cutting and trash cleanup, is for costs incurred between March 31st, 2024 and November 31st, 2024. which includes the entire subdivision excluding vacant property. The records of the city, Lansing City Assessor indicated that the additional cost is approximately $51.99 per parcel.
Okay, our first speaker is Nicholas Zandy, followed by Mitch Rice. You have up to 3 minutes to address the council.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Zanny, and I am here to speak on the make safe and demolish, specifically about the red tag issue. And you've heard my opinion on the red tag issue and how it's been a plague on the city of Lansing for years. And Councilmember Palavano mentioned how one of them had been pretty much a plague for about, I'm just going to say it, just more than a decade, which if you're letting properties like that sit that way, red tagged, for more than a decade and not really doing much about the issue, that is a problem. And to consider that one of them that was mentioned in the show cause hearing, it was 204 East Power Avenue. That is in my neighborhood, the old Everett neighborhood. That is, and the fact that there is a house, and it's not the only house that's been red tagged in the old Everett neighborhood. On Rosedale, which is not too far from my street, it is also has a red tagged house, and it's been sitting there, and I'm pretty sure people are living in it, and nothing's really been done about it. And there's also another red tagged house, this time on Washington Avenue. So where's the action there? This is a very serious issue, and the fact that there's 3 red tagged houses within the boundaries of the old Everett neighborhood, to my knowledge, that shows how big of a problem this is. And it's sad because the old Everett neighborhood should be one of the safest neighborhoods to live in, but the fact that there's 3 red tag houses in baseball, by the way, in that sport, if you got 3 strikes, you're out. And that's a major problem. And also to add on to that, I really wish that the state legislature would help you on this, but they're busy focusing on trying to roll back LGBT rights instead of actually focusing on the red tag issue because of some weird culture war stuff, which I do not support. It is very clear that both the state legislature and the city council needs to focus directly on the issue of red tagging just so they don't pile up on this. And the fact that they're only talking about this now shows how much this is piled up. It's like a mess you found in your old room that you just ignored for a few years and thought, oh, I'll deal with that later. But once it keeps piling up higher and higher, it comes to the point where now you actually have to address it, and it's too little too late to do that because of how much of a mess this is. This is kitchen nightmares levels of terrible. That is all I'm going to say, and I'll yield the rest of my time, and I'm going to be leaving afterwards because I've got dogs to take care of.
Thank you. Next, we have Mitch Rice, followed by Jody Washington.
Good evening, Council. I appreciate that you have moved things to show cause hearings. I've attended some of the public safety meetings, and it's good to see the action that you're taking. In regards to the property that is the old Metro Bowl, I know that the only option for this property is to demolish it. From the information I had access to, there's no way to make the building safe, and the current owner does not deserve any more extended time to do whatever he may feel he needs to do. In respect to item 24, I'm supportive of the resolution to deny the transfer of the 3 liquor license, keep them in escrow, and hopefully some better options will come later. This is a repeat of what I said at the Committee of the Whole. In regards to item 26, the report from HRCS, I believe that there is a very limited information about the HRCS planned expenditures for FY25 and recommend the City Council require more defined and detailed plans in respect for doing approval, or if you approve them, we just got to have more as citizens. The document is very vague in creating a low-barrier outdoor shelter to address homelessness in the city of Lansing, and the use of supplemental funds, the agency gaps in services for the unhoused. They make an effort and they say things that they're going to use community problem-solving account to help fund efforts to keep our unhoused neighbors safe. Very vague. To see an expenditure of $746,624.94 to create an alternative shelter project is a large amount. $682,178.92 spent on community problem-solving account. I wonder about an allocation of $50,982 for the PPA homeless study. Who will do this study, and when and how will the citizens know about the results? Furthermore, another vague expenditure is completing a community needs assessment from $80,000. I know it goes out for an RFP, but that's a lot of money. And I know studies are valuable, but study after study after study with no action is not a good expense. We personally care for the unsheltered. My wife Candy and I regularly volunteer for the City Rescue Mission and support their service provider financially. I support the city helping those in need, but recommend careful scrutiny as a very prudent choice for the council as well as the mayor's administration. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Jody Washington.
Thank you, Jody Washington, Eastside. I'm going to speech therapy. This will get better. So I wanted to talk about the transfer of these liquor licenses. To be frank, I was a little surprised at what some of you had to say. This is a very challenged neighborhood, and as somebody who raised her children in public housing in that neighborhood and all of the challenged demographics that sit behind that property, in front of that property, I can't even believe anybody would even consider voting yes on this resolution. When you make a vote, I would ask that, and one thing I would ask is that you do your research before you get here and not expect the city attorney to do your research on the fly at the dais. How is he supposed to know how many resolutions and which ones went forward? But that's a whole nother thing. Historically, the way we have kept people down is we have made sure that all the substances have gone into challenged neighborhoods, and typically minority neighborhoods. We know it has been with drug abuse, alcohol, poor school districts, poor education, poor housing, and here we go again. Let's put another liquor license in a very bad area. Is our goal to help people scaffold to a better place in life, or is it to keep them where they are? To keep them handcuffed to poverty, addiction, and a low bar for what is acceptable. I've lost 3 brothers to substance use addiction. I know it well. I know what happened to the kids that came out of our neighborhood. Very few made it out, very few with a college degree. Most of them are struggling in their 40s. So when you vote on these, use historical data, use critical thinking. If you're a religious person, for crying out loud, do the right thing by the people. It's not just a business opportunity. I've gone in most of the convenience stores, it's liquor, alcohol, potato chips, Mountain Dew. There might be a gallon of milk for $5-6. So let's not pretend that they are something that they are not. Nothing against the Zanies, but they have them, and they are always in challenged neighborhoods. So think before you vote about the very people that you may be handcuffing to the circumstances we all hope they can rise above.
Thank you. We also have two written appeals of the Glenburn Special Assessment, one from Kathy Tucker, the other from Raymond Tadgerson, that will be part of the record, and a letter from Edward Zaney regarding the liquor license resolution that will be made part of the record. And we are to the referral of the show cause hearings, items 3 through 11 on the agenda.
Public safety.
And referral of the public hearing, the special assessment.
We'll go to city operations.
And we are to the consent agenda.
Vice President Carter.
All right, so there are several. So we have, make a motion to move the consent agenda for the following: setting and show cause hearing on orders to make safe or demolish to the owners of 204 East Kavanaugh Road and 1612 Martin Street, 2407 Dunlap Street, 108 South Martin Luther King Boulevard, 3134 Viking Road, 1212 Parkview Avenue. We also have Act 620 2024, vacation of Horn Drain Easement, Lansing School District at 2000 Luton Place. We have Act 72024, permanent utility easement at 1801 North Washington Avenue for Consumers Energy. And lastly, a grant acceptance for Help America Vote, Physical Security and Election Resiliency Grant.
All right, we have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes unanimously.
Okay, we're to resolutions for action on item 24, objecting to the transfer of liquor licenses.
Vice President Carter.
I'm going to actually have Councilman Hussein speak to it.
Yep, I can absolutely do that. And so we actually took this up in Committee of the Whole. The resolution from Committee of the Whole did pass on a 6-2 vote. In any event, we had received notification from the Michigan Liquor Control Commission that there had been a application for transfer of ownership of escrow liquor licenses by an applicant going by the name of Advanced UZP Inc. And this would be for various locations, specifically 4700 Pleasant Grove Road, 1910 East Michigan, and 4519 South Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Michigan Liquor Control Commission, part of the Control Act actually, is that municipalities such as the city of Lansing, where proposed transfers are could potentially take place in, should have an opportunity or will have an opportunity to provide input with regard to the proposed transfer. It is, as mentioned a number of times in Committee of the Whole, it is our way to essentially, I should say, by speaking through resolution, it is our way to take a position should we object to the proposed transfer for any number of reasons. During Committee of the Whole, a number of things were referenced, everything from saturation of alcohol in these specific areas to the blighted nature of the properties, to enforcement actions that have been taken with regard to these properties, with regard to some of the economic challenges, socioeconomic challenges in these areas. The list goes on and on and on. We also have letters of support from communities, such as the Southwest Action Group, Rejuvenating South Lansing, and in those, they reference a number of things that were referenced at this dais, but they also talk about some, issues with tax payments in the past, and again, the list goes on. So in any event, we did have this conversation in Committee of the Whole. I think folks spoke eloquently to their specific positions. It passed out of Committee 6-2 and is up for final consideration. So with that, I would move the resolution.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I will add one thing that I did look up on the Liquor Control Board, why we were sitting between meetings. We actually have in Lansing 3 more than we should liquor licenses currently out there. So there are actually more liquor stores than we're licensed for according to the state. So I think that is real, yes, correct. We are borrowing from other communities, and I think that's a real tell of, how many liquor stores we have in a density for a city of our size. So with that, if there's no further, Vice President Carter.
Thank you, President Cost. Thank you for bringing that to the attention as well. That was one of the things that was a question of mine. So with that, though, I think also when we look at the current resolution, I think it's a bigger issue. And I think public comment actually spoke to this, but I think we need to look at everything collectively. So if we have 3 more, we need to look at the Michigan liquor control licensing and see what we can do to mitigate the licensing. And then we also need to look at placement as well, besides just individually looking at future license transfers and so forth.
Councilman Hussein.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. For folks that have been up here for a while, just so you know, we have engaged over and over and over our state lawmakers with regard to the Liquor Control Act, because it really is a deficiency at the state, and unfortunately, we're left with the destruction within our communities. The problem, I'm going to be very frank with you, the problem is the beverage lobby is incredibly strong, and it is very difficult to get lawmakers to take on what is an incredibly complex statute and to really go against the grain in that way. And so I agree. Maybe we can, at some point, pass a resolution from this body, which we actually have done in the past, employing them, or at least our local delegation, to again take a look at the Liquor Control Act and see how amendments could potentially be made that would safeguard our community and the people that we represent within our community. But it is something, and I'm sure Mayor Shore could tell you from his time in the legislature, it is something that people, I mean, they won't even play hot potato with, right? They won't even catch this thing. They pivot in the opposite direction. I've actually tried, I think, just about every year I've been on council to engage our local lawmakers. So this is, unfortunately, this is the tool we have, the tool we've been left with. Resolutions are how we speak as a body. And with regards to the deficiencies that exist within the Liquor Control Act, again, this is all we have. Thank you.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Okay, we've got 6-2. I'm sorry, we took the vote. We took the vote. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. The vote was taken.
So I guess reconsideration, so I can make my comment. You just didn't see me.
Sure. So reconsideration's on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Aye.
Oppose? Can we get a roll call vote on that?
On the reconsideration of the vote by which the resolution was adopted, Councilmember Hussein. Councilmember Jackson. Councilmember Cost.
No.
Councilmember Palavanaglou. Councilmember Spatafor.
No.
Councilmember Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Carter.
Yes.
Councilmember Garza. Yes. 5 yeas, 3 nays.
All right. Motion to reconsider is on the table. Councilman Brown.
Yes, I was just trying to make my statement. I'm sorry that you didn't see my hand up. If we have too many liquor license, and to your point, Councilman Hussein, we haven't been able to get, people on this body haven't been able to get too far, then, maybe looking forward, every transfer of license, then we should look at, this type of action going forward as the new norm if we're saying we have too many liquor licenses based on the rules. That's some new information just now. So I just wanted to share that, and I know that I have the right to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brown. All right, we have a proper motion in place. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose?
Nay.
Passes 6-2.
Okay, then we are to item 26, budget amendment with the carry forwards.
Vice President Carter.
All right, we had Daniel Spencer and Director Kim Coleman here at Committee of a Whole. Earlier today, HRCS is seeking to carry forward and reallocate the 2023-2024 funds to provide the following services and projects. It was quite lengthy, but we have the alternative shelter project, We have community problem solving, human services discretionary, and alternative temporary shelter that goes underneath the alternative shelter project. We also have the PPA homelessness study and MFCC prevailing wage study, the community needs assessment, emergency hoteling, racial equity grant, and racial justice equity alliance. The 24 carry forward reallocation total is a little bit over 1.7 million. It was addressed that typically unused program funds from agencies is not uncommon, but there are plans to spend the remaining program funds for the remaining fiscal year. And with that, I move it.
We have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion? Councilman Jackson.
Just really quickly, the reason why I'm voting no is because kind of a protest on the fact that there are these carry forwards on such important things like shelters, homelessness issues, food shortages, racial justice and equity. So again, this money wasn't spent when we know that there is some need out there for it. So I don't appreciate it being carried over for a second year, and that's why I'm voting no.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes 7-1.
Okay, we are to item 43, the deficit elimination plan for the fringe benefits plan.
Vice President Carter.
Yes, we also had Jake Brower and Desiree Kirkland here to speak on the deficit elimination plan. There was year ended on June 30th, 2024. The fringe benefits fund ended with a total net position of a little over 5 million, which calculated a deficit with the amount of a little over 4.9 million to be addressed. This deficit was an internal service fund where revenues come from the other funds and then cover costs from the citywide fringe benefits. The city is planning an additional 8 million to transfer in 2024 to 2025 into the fringe benefit fund to cover prior year deficit. This funding will contribute to a proportionate share of the 8 million in the 2024-2025 fiscal year, and this will allow for the fringe benefit fund to eliminate the deficit and leave an unexpected 3 million surplus that will flow into the net position of the end of the fiscal year in order to cover future timing issues that may have arisen. There was a question in play about what has caused the increase. The response was, majority of it was due to the premium health care. And this would have an impact of about 15% of the fund balance, and the city will monitor the situation more closely in the future with the implementation of the new accounting software to ensure that there's no deficit situations in the near future. I move the resolution.
We have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes unanimously.
Okay, we're to item 28, the reappointment of Emily Linden to the Potter Park Zoo Board.
Councilman Brown.
Thank you. We have a reappointment for Emily Linden for the Park Board, which she's been serving on for I believe, around for the last few years. I don't have the exact date. And she indicated when Councilman Garza usually asks, will you be available in the community for updates? She said she would be available and would make all the meetings. And so I guess move the resolution for discussion.
Okay, so we have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion? Councilman Brown.
Thank you. I won't be supporting this applicant. She's very friendly, but she was our internal auditor. We didn't, in the middle of budget, no 2-week notice. And I go to all the constituent meetings. Not everyone, no one's perfect, but I've been to all of them for the last several years, and I haven't seen any updates at the community meetings about the zoo. And a lot of times I've had to, myself get with constituent questions and get with the county and, ask those questions. So I won't be supporting for that reason.
Thank you, Councilman Brown. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose?
Nay.
Passes 7-1.
Okay, item 29, nonprofit recognition for Everett High School Vikings.
Okay, Councilman Brown.
Thank you. We have the Everett High School Vikings Alumni Association, Inc. has requested a resolution of recognition as a local nonprofit organization operating in the city of Lansing for the purpose of obtaining a charitable gaming license pursuant to MCL 432.103A. And they were talking about, they're new, they want to start doing different bingos and different charitable events to raise money for the school. And so with that, I move the resolution.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. Any further discussion? Councilman Hussein.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I actually watched that committee meeting back and super, super impressed. I guess they got started this past summer. And they've actually done a number of fundraisers, but the fundraisers really have been limited to, like, shirt sales and water bottle sales and that type of thing. But what I really appreciated as a teacher is that they were born from an absolute need that was articulated by students and staff. And so they talked a little bit about the weight room. They talked a little bit about SAT and ACT tests beyond that one free test that each student gets their junior year. Talked about some very specific supplies that not only the teachers were requesting, but also the students. And so super, super impressed, very, very thankful that group decided to organize and looking forward to, I think their first event is in April. So hopefully, once we get that date and time certain, we can work to promote that. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes unanimously.
Okay, item 30 is a claim appeal for $2,130 in trash fees at 1807 Ray Street.
Councilmember Brown.
Thank you. We have claim appeal 2152, excuse me for pronouncing this wrong, Aquilam Mohammed Essa for $2,130 in trash fees at 1807 Ray Street. The individual, she came in with her son and basically described that they're having hardships to get trash removed, and they did say, it was their trash, and they do understand. There also is a neighbor they indicated who had some challenges as well. So when we talked to the enforcers, they said that they also had fines on the adjacent property. And with that, I'll motion to approve the resolution, which would be to deny the claim.
Okay, so we have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes unanimously.
Okay, item 31 is setting a public hearing for noise special permit for the sewer overflow 019 project.
Okay, Councilmember Brown.
Thank you. This is to set a public hearing for the noise special permit for the Hoffman Brothers request to allow for the combined sewer overflow 019 project. And it would be set for March 10th at 7 p.m. City Council chambers. So I'll move the resolution.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, item 32 through 34 are traffic control orders.
Okay. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you. We'll start with 32, traffic control order number 2456, rescinding the parking prohibition along with the north side of West Thomas Street from Turner Street to the west dead end. The Public Service Department received a request from residents to remove the existing parking prohibition along the north side of West Thomas Street from Turner Street to the west end and allow unrestricted parking. The Public Service Department standards procedures require a majority of the residents greater than 50% along the section of the street in question to be in favor of the existing parking change regulation. A petition was circulated by the residents and signed by residents of 16 out of 20 properties at listed 80%. And so with that, I will move the resolution.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. Councilman Brown, do you know, is this a prohibition on both sides currently? And Or are they opening up parking on both sides now with this?
It would be one side, if I'm correct, because the one side already has parking, and so it's the other side.
So it would be both sides that would have
Yes,
parking on?
so-
Okay,
yes, yeah.
appreciate it. Is there any further discussion? Councilman Hussein?
Yeah, and it was historically, service vehicles and things like that needed to be able to access that area. So that's why the TCO was in place. The TCO is not necessarily, at least Mitch Whistler, I thought he did a great job explaining, but it wasn't necessary. The individual did ask for that prohibition to be removed, and I thought did a great job circulating those petitions. But it just dealt with kind of a outdated need for service vehicles to access that area.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes unanimously. Councilman Brown.
Thank you, and we have the same for 33 and 34, traffic control order number 2461, regulate parking on Eaton Road. It's all the same area. This survey was given to 11 properties along Eaton Road. 5 responded. Out of the 5, all 100% were in favor of option 2, which was allow unrestricted parking along the east side of the street and prohibit parking along the west side of the street. So with that, I move the resolution.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes unanimously.
Okay, we are to.
We have the last item yet, 34?
Yes.
Sorry.
No problem. And 34 would be 17 surveys along Wayburn Road. 34 is traffic control number 2463. Wayburn Road, 17 properties. The survey was sent out, received 6 responses. 2 of these responses were in favor, 33%. No change, and 4 were in favor of option 2, which was 67%, which is a change. Option 2 was to prohibit parking along the north and east side of the street and allow unrestricted parking along the south and west side of the street. With that, I'll make the motion.
Okay, with proper motion in place, any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Passes unanimously.
Okay, we are to ordinances for introduction and setting of public hearing. Council President Cost introduced an ordinance of the City of Lansing, Michigan to amend Chapter 404 of the Lansing Codified Ordinances to add Section 404.15 to prohibit unregistered vehicles from parking on any public roadway, including but not limited to any alley, street, or highway. The ordinance is read a first time by its title and referred to the Committee on Public Safety.
Yes. Yep. I'm gonna pass the gavel to Vice President Carter. All right, I am going to put forward a resolution to set the public hearing for March 10th on this item.
All right, we have a proper motion. All those in favor for the resolution for introduction and setting public hearing, ordinance amendment, chapter 404.15 parking.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it's unanimous, it passes.
Okay, then we are to speaker registration for public comment on legislative matters. That is the yellow sheet in the back. If you wish to address City Council, please sign in the back within the next 2 minutes. And in the meantime, we are to reports of officers, boards, and commissions.
Vice President Carter.
All right, I motion that all items be considered as being read in full and that proper referrals be made by President Cost.
And I'd like to add on to this if I could.
Sure, but do you want to vote on authorizing?
Oh, I'm sorry. We have a proper motion in place. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, and I understand there will be a re-referral of an item from a previous.
Yes,
meeting, is
correct.
that-
And I've lost my paperwork because that's just been that kind of day. will be for reappointment of Sean Galay at large member for the HRCS Advisory Board for a term to expire June 30th, 2028. And that will go to city operations.
And we have items from the city clerk, minutes of boards and commissions placed on file in the clerk's office.
Placed on file.
Grant acceptance, early voting grant.
Ways and Means Internal Auditor.
And the boards and commissions term expirations report.
Placed on file.
From the mayor, the appointment of Tracy Tanner to the Board of Public Service.
City operations.
2 redevelopment area liquor license, one for La Mulata at 5334 South Martin Luther King, and the other for Sea Level at 200 South Washington.
City operations.
We have Renaissance Zone transfer from Altium Cells to LG Energy Solutions.
Committee of the Whole.
And we have 2 items relative to the industrial facilities exemption certificate transfer from Altium Cells to LG Energy Solutions, Michigan.
Committee of the Whole.
We have a grant application for Michigan Department of Transportation Local Bridge Program.
Ways and Means Internal Auditor.
And a grant acceptance, Michigan Natural Resources for the acquisition of 4 parcels in Adado Riverfront Park and Bouchard Park.
Ways and Means Internal Auditor.
And a grant acceptance, Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund for Geyer BMX track improvements.
Ways and Means Internal Auditor.
Grant acceptance, Bloomberg American Sustainable Cities Grant.
Ways and Means Internal Auditor.
Donation acceptance, Women Lawyers Association of Michigan, Mid-Michigan, and individual donations to the Lansing Police Department Care Unit.
Ways and Means Internal Auditor.
And we have 5 sole source purchase items.
Ways and Means Internal Auditor.
And then we have the late ordinance for introduction regarding the prohibiting the parking of unregistered autos.
Committee of the Whole.
Communications and petitions, a claim appeal from Haidar Al Sultan for $585 in board up fees at 2423 Dunlap Street.
City operations.
Communication from Mitch and Candy Rice, expressing opinions on a couple of council items.
Place on file.
And then 2 notices from the Liquor Control Commission. One is for Pandolph Hill Corporation at 3224 East Michigan Avenue, a new Class C license. And the other is M&S1 LLC at 221 South Washington, a new Class C license.
City operations.
We are to remarks by council members.
Any remarks? Seeing none.
Remarks by the mayor.
Mr. Mayor? Okay.
Okay, public comment on city government related matters. I would note that we received a communication from Kathy Toby supporting the demolition of Metro Bowl property. And then here to speak tonight, we have David Ellis, followed by Loretta Stanaway.
Hi, David Ellis, downtown Lansing resident. I'm sorry to any council members who have heard me speak about this to them before. I'm going to sound a little bit like a broken record now, but after working for the past 16 days in a row because I can barely afford to live in the city anymore, I'm a little exhausted of having to say the same things over and over and over. So I'm going to cut to the chase here. It seems like a lot of you don't understand what a city is. There's like this feeling, this presumption that Lansing is like Disney World. Like I come down here and I talk about walkability and density and things like that, and it's because I think Chicago looks cool. I think big buildings are awesome. No, that's not the point. That's not like this. This all stems from like a very mathematical, sort of boring on paper facts about the city. And what those facts about the city are, if you look at, other than the enormous Capitol complex, if you look at the large buildings downtown, they pay more in taxes than they receive back in city services by orders of magnitude. Some buildings are paying 20 or even 40 times as much as they receive back from the city of Lansing. If you look at the east side, where we have a lot of our old housing stock, this still stands true, because when a lot of those properties were built, the city actually cared about this return on investment. I heard lots of people complaining about, my road hasn't been plowed, and back in the 1950s, the city used to shovel our sidewalks. If you look at since the 1950s, once you hit Jolly Street, there was no more Lansing. Once you hit Holmes, there was only a single neighborhood south of Holmes in the 1950s. If you look on the south side, these properties don't pay enough to repave the asphalt in front of them. They are entirely subsidized by the city to exist there. And this is fine. This is absolutely okay. I don't want to for one moment sound like I'm here to trash on them. I love these neighborhoods. But then when the city looks at the high value properties, and like there's this thought process of like, when I come up here and I say, I think we should expand more and think about more density and revising our zoning code to allow more valuable properties to come into the city, there's this talk of, no, we shouldn't, because it ruins the neighborhood, of the character of the neighborhood, or it somehow generates poverty or makes people like immoral. I don't know, I don't understand all the reasonings I've heard, but I just want to come up here and say that with the zoning changes that are upcoming, if you stand by opposing it for any myriad of reasons, you do not belong in this city. There are plenty of townships and non-places for you to go work for, but not here. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Loretta Stanaway.
First, I want to congratulate you guys on having the bravery to turn down the liquor license transfers and to stop the 7-day-a-week or 6-day-a-week noise pollution in the neighborhoods for the CSO project. Second, I agree with Brian Jackson. Surprise, surprise. But I agree with Brian on the carry forwards. I cannot tell you how many times I hear on a scanner or how many things I see on Facebook for people in dire and desperate and life-threatening situations, absolutely broke, and told by the city, we have no resources to help you. There's no shelter space, there's no warming space, there's no funding for food or shelter or hotels. It's overwhelming, it really is. And there's no excuse for it if there is money sitting there. I don't care about the bureaucratic red tape of how do you account for it and how do you track it from this account to that account to some other account. Get the money out there to the people that need it instead of sitting on it. Second or third or wherever I'm at, I'm old enough at coming down here that I remember the Fahrenheit. Does anyone else remember the Fahrenheit? The city fought for years and finally through the Liquor Control Commission got that rat trap shut down. So yeah, there is a precedence for this council sending messages to the Liquor Control Commission saying, we don't want this. And the commission agreed and acted on it and acted favorably to what the council asked for. Probably not every single time, but the majority of the times it did. The Fahrenheit does not exist anymore because of the actions of this council. And also, going back to vacancy factors and all of that stuff, if we are paying for LFD and LPD to put people through training in academies, they should have to sign an agreement that they will stay in the community working for 2 or 3 years or whatever is agreed upon after they're trained and hired in, rather than paying to train them and then having them go elsewhere because they got an offer from somebody that didn't take 9 months to make them an offer. And then lastly, just as a very minor and annoying FYI, your city website, when you look under holiday closures, it still is dated 2021, and the list of closures is from 2024. I think we're far enough into 2025 that those two things could be and should be corrected. Thank you.
Thank you. That was our final speaker.
We are adjourned at 9:26.